Namo Pha. Good morning. Thanks for joining me for a daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The fourth mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and to relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I'm determined to speak truthfully with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I will not spread news I do not know to be certain, and will not criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause the family or the community to break. I'm determined to make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. For our Dharma lessons, we're continuing to read Ajahn Chah's book, Everything is Teaching Us, and we're in the talk on wholehearted training. After I was ordained, I started practicing, studying, and then practicing, and faith came about. When I first started practicing, I would think about the lives of beings in the world. It all seemed very heartrending and pitiful. What was so pitiful about it? All the rich people would soon die and have to leave their big houses behind, leaving the children and grandchildren to fight over the estate. When I saw such things happening, I thought, this got to me. It made me feel pity towards rich and poor alike, towards the wise and the foolish. Everyone living in this world was in the same boat. Reflecting on our bodies, about the condition of the world and the lives of sentient beings, brings about weariness and dispassion. Thinking about the ordained life, that we have taken up this way of life to dwell and practice in the forest, and developing a constant attitude of disenchantment and dispassion, our practice will progress. Thinking constantly about the factors of practice, rapture comes about. The hairs of the body stand on end. There is a feeling of joy in reflecting on the way we live and comparing our lives previously with our lives now. The Dharma caused such feelings to fill my heart. I didn't know who to talk to about it. I was awake, and whatever situations I met, I was awake and alert. It means I had some knowledge of Dharma. My mind was illumined, and I realized many things. I experienced bliss, a real satisfaction and delight in my way of life. To put it simply, I felt I was different from others. I was a fully grown, normal man, but I could live in the forest like this. I didn't have any regrets or see any loss in it. When I saw others having families, I thought that was truly regrettable. I looked around and thought, how many people can live like this? I came to have real faith and trust in the path of practice I had chosen, and this faith has supported me right up to the present. In the early days of Wat Pah Nanachat, I had 4 or 5 monks living here with me. We experienced a lot of difficulties. From what I can see now, most of us Buddhists are pretty deficient in our practice. These days, when you walk into a monastery, you only see the kutis, the temple hall, the monastery grounds, and the monks. But as to what is really the heart of the Buddha's way, Buddha Sasana, you won't find that. I've spoken about this often. It's a cause for sadness. In the past, I had one Dharma companion who became more interested in study than in practice. He pursued the Pali and Abhidhamma studies, going to live in Bangkok after a while, and last year he finally completed his studies and received a certificate and titles commensurate with his learning. So now he has a brand name. Here, I don't have a brand name. I studied outside the models, contemplating things and practicing, thinking and practicing, so I didn't get the brand label like the others. In this monastery, we had ordinary monks, people who didn't have a lot of learning, but who were determined to practice. I originally came to this place at the invitation of my mother. She was the one who had cared for me and supported me since my birth, but I hadn't repaid her kindness, so I thought this would be the way to do that, coming here to Wat Pah Nanachat. I had some connection with this place. When I was a child, I remember hearing my father say that Ajahn Chah came to stay here. My father went to hear the Dharma from him. I was a child, but the memory stayed with me. It stuck in my mind always. My father was never ordained, but he told me how he went to pay respects to this meditation monk. It was the first time he saw a monk eating out of his bowl, putting everything together in the one alms bowl, rice, curry, sweet, fish, everything. He'd never seen such a thing, and it made him wonder what kind of monk this might be. He told me about this when I was a little child. That was a meditation monk. Then he told me about getting Dharma teachings from Ajahn Chah. It wasn't the ordinary way of teaching. He just spoke what was on his mind. That was the practice monk who came to stay here once. So when I went off to practice myself, I always retained some special feeling about this. When I would think back to my home village, I always thought about this forest. Then, when the time came to return to this area, I came to stay here. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much for joining me today.